in Banjul, expressing their support and commitment to preach peace. The second tranche of vaccines, numbering over 150,000 of the single-dose Johnson & Johnson, yesterday evening arrived in the Gambia at the Banjul International Airport. Regaining its lost glory in satellite transmission, GRTS samples public opinion on how Gambians want their public broadcaster to serve them bridge the information gap. And in sports, the Gambia's track queen Gina Bass has missed out in the final of the women's 200-meter race after finishing fourth in today's semi-final in the 2021 Tokyo Olympics. And in the internationals, clashes intensifies in Afghanistan with government forces fighting fierce street battle with Taliban forces trying to overtake their last stand of defense. Well, these and many other stories coming ahead in the next 45 minutes. Thank you for joining us. Many thanks for joining GRTS News, and I am Fatu Janibai. And we begin this edition of the Bulletin with the Presidency, where a delegation of imams and village heads drawn from across Banjul and the Kanifing municipality yesterday afternoon paid a courtesy call to President Adama Barrow at the State House. The delegations led by the country's leading imam, Alhaji Cherno Aliu Maskar, include several prominent clerics and religious leaders expressing their support and loyalty to the Gambian leader. Maud Jala picks up the rest of the story.
These are imams and village heads drawn from across Banjul and the Kanifing municipality. They are the latest to call on the President, His Excellency Adama Barrow, at the State House to express support and loyalty. They were led by the country's top Imam Alhaji Cherno Aliu Maskar and include several prominent clerics and religious leaders. Speaking on behalf of the Banjul Imams, Alhaji Baisen Seka described the gathering as an important platform to pay homage to President Barrow for his development exploits over the last 4 years, which have brought hope to Gambians. He called on the Imams to pray for the country and its leadership as the Gambia enters another election cycle. These comments were echoed by Imam Hafiz Bey and Abdullah Ba of Neman Nasir, who both reassured the President that they have long been preaching peace and tolerance to their diverse congregations. They hailed the meeting as an important platform, as it has brought all prominent religious leaders together to dialogue with the country's leadership. The Alcalde of Serakunda, Alhaji Serin Job, on behalf of all the Alcalde of Kanifing municipality, reassured the President of their unflinching support and solidarity. He enumerated the various infrastructural projects currently ongoing in Banjul and the provinces, adding that this would be replicated in Serakunda, one of the most popular settlements in the country. The President's advisor on religious matters, Alhaji Dembo Bonyang, described religious leaders and village authorities as important stakeholders in the political process, arguing that no provision prohibits them from engaging in political activity of their choice. He therefore encouraged them to use their influence to gather support for President Barrow and his agenda, adding that his government has accomplished several development projects within a short period of time. The President, His Excellency Adama Barrow, welcomed the religious leaders and elders to the State House, describing them as strong pillars of peace and stability in the country. Given their influence and following in society, President Barrow said his government will continue to work closely with them to foster peace and tolerance.
It's a great pleasure to receive the Imams at the State House. Dialogue is very important because without dialogue, you would not reach a consensus on important issues. These involve sitting down, interface, and exchange ideas on how to move this country forward. I always say that we don't have any other country than the Gambia. Therefore, our citizens, let's unite, work together, and move this country forward.
The President therefore tasked the religious leaders to use their influence to help in the fight against the COVID-19 pandemic, which has claimed thousands of lives across the world.
Let's use our platforms to urge people to follow the stipulated regulations to fight against COVID-19. That is to say, let's always wear masks in public. Let's practice physical distancing inside mosques. Therefore, I want every imam to take this responsibility up, talk to their congregations, to wear a mask. By wearing a mask, you protect yourself and others.
The president also appealed directly to the imams to complement the efforts of his government, revealing that his administration already provides a $5 million subvention to the Gambia Supreme Islamic Council. He also promised to explore possibilities of extending government subvention to imams in the future, provided that the relevant government agencies agree to his proposal. The president concluded by urging imams to continue praying for peace in the country, desist from using their platforms to incite conflicts which have the potential to destabilize the country. Maudou Diallo, GRTS News.
The second tranche of vaccines, numbering over 150,000 of the single-dose Johnson & Johnson, yesterday evening arrived in the Gambia, receiving the final gesture presented by the American ambassador, His Excellency Richard Pascal, to the Minister of Health, Dr. Mamadou Lamin Samate, at the Banjul International Airport, was the last consignment under the COVAX initiative meant to inoculate Gambians from the deadly Delta variant. Baba Silla has more in this report.
When the United States President Joe Biden came to power earlier this year, he promised his administration commitment and readiness to give free vaccine to the world, with emphasis on developing nations in the fight against the deadly global virus. A second consignment of almost 151,200 doses of Johnson & Johnson vaccine donated by the United States government through the COVAX facility arrived in the Gambia at the Banjul International Airport on Sunday. Received by the Gambia's health minister, the United States ambassador, WHO officials and religious leaders, with a fresh call on the general public to get vaccinated. The representative from the World Health Body emphasized the organization's resolve to boost local and global collaboration in the fight against the invisible deadly virus.
This is clearly a demonstration of the commitment that the United States has towards
fulfilling a promise made by the President Joe Biden in May this year.
We are all in this together around the world. We're very delighted to partner with the Gambian government to provide these vaccines. I want to emphasize two very important things. The first is that these vaccines are safe. These vaccines have been administered to over 15 million Americans and many more millions around the world. These vaccines are effective. These vaccines have a greater than 99% effectiveness at becoming seriously ill from COVID-19.
Ambassador Pascal also appealed to the public to get vaccinated in order to eradicate the virus, saying the jab is safe and necessary to gain protection from COVID-19. The health minister, Dr. Ahmed Lamin Samade, also delivered a powerful message while commending the U.S. government through the ambassador for its extended humanitarian gesture.
It is only a good partner who works with you, who comes to your aid when you are in need. That is good partnership, that's good relationship, that's how families are supposed to be. So at this time of global need, we are happy that the United States is taking leadership and providing vaccines for a lot of nations who ordinarily would have found it very difficult to obtain these vaccines by themselves. We thank you immensely for that gesture.
With this second consignment, health officials are expected to launch an expanded public vaccination campaign to ensure everyone is vaccinated, but until then, wearing and social distancing will still remain strict safety measures to prevent the spread of the virus. For GRTS News, I am Baba Silla.
And from the report by GRTS's Baba Silla, where earlier on, of course, we spoke with Shelley A. Seaver, the Deputy Chief of Mission at the United States Embassy here in Banjul. Take a listen. Your assessment of the COVID-19 situation in the Gambia, and can you take us through the COVAX initiative as well?
Sure. So unfortunately, the Delta variant is going all around the world and very quickly, and that includes the Gambia. So currently cases are on the rise. And that's why the United States government is very committed to sharing vaccines which are proven to be safe and effective. As your listeners just saw, the United States brought in a second tranche of 150,000 vaccines, which totals 300,000 200,000 vaccines in total, and these are for the Gambian people. We urge everyone to get vaccinated, and this is a part of a larger donation that the United States is making via COVAX in order to provide over 25 million vaccines to the African Union.
Right. Now, with COVID-19, of course, many projects and many grants have stopped. And what are the available opportunities that poorer nations, of course, can access from the United States apart from the COVAX initiative?
So we've really pivoted during the COVID-19 pandemic to do activities that are safer. They might have changed, but there are still grants and opportunities that are available. Many are visible on our website. And so I'll just highlight a few. For example, we have 7 wonderful Mandela Washington Fellows who are currently doing their fellowship remotely. These are outstanding Gambian students who are engaging both with United States peers and their other peers across the continent. We also have American Corner programs that individuals can access remotely here. And there are a variety of grants, including a fiscal transparency grant that's available right now on our website. We also have, through our public diplomacy program, different small grants in order to improve education and outreach, and we have ambassador self-help grants that can help different communities.
Right. Now, moving forward, the Gambia will head to the polls, of course, in 4 months' time. Now, what is your take on the democratic transition of the Gambia, of course, and its credentials?
So this is such an important time for the Gambia. I was absolutely honored to be able to view the registration process, and I thought that went incredibly smoothly. It really, really went well, and I think that's a great signal for the future for the Gambia. The first most important thing is to register and for people to actually go out and vote. It's important for people to exchange information, know what the different party platforms are, and I know that the Gambian people are a peaceful people, and we just encourage everyone to vote and participate in the process.
All right, we just encourage everyone to vote and participate in the process. Now, what is the opinion of the United States on the country's transitional justice program?
So these are incredibly important. I want to, of course, commend all of the victims who took the courage and time to testify in front of the TRC, and it's important really to put them first and understand that justice must be served. This is a long process. The TRC has been working very hard to get a good report together, and I know everyone is looking forward to see that and to see what the next steps are. The United States is engaged in this. We do have some actions currently going on in the United States to also bring human rights abusers to justice.
All right. Now, this year's United States Fiscal Transparency Report ranks Gambia at 74 out of 141 governments, compared to last year, of course. What has changed for this country, and how can that help us?
So this report really places an emphasis on transparency, on budgets being available, on people and citizens being able to engage in the budget process. And so the Gambia has improved greatly on that and on making the budget transparent, on engaging citizens. And so I want to commend the Gambia for that. Our report has some information about how the Gambia can continue to improve, and that really just focuses on transparency and exchange of information.
Very well. Now, finally, what will be your message to the government and people of the Gambia?
The message to the government and the people of the Gambia is that the United States is here. We're proud to be your partner, and we want to support you, especially through this COVID-19 pandemic. Please get vaccinated. The vaccines are incredibly safe. They're trusted. They're endorsed by the World Health Organization. So I just want to encourage everyone to stay safe, stay healthy, and get vaccinated.
What is your own assessment, or your assessment of the COVID-19 situation in the Gambia? Well, that was the Deputy Chief of Mission of the United States Embassy here in Banjul, Shella Siba, there talking to us about the consignment of the 302,000 doses of the Johnson & Johnson vaccines supplied to the Gambia. She was also speaking to us about their expectation in the country's transitional justice programs. And now moving on, the Gambia radio and television services have gone back to digital satellite transmission, regaining its lost glory to an arena it dominates for more than 2 decades now. The project, funded by the government, coincides with a new democratic transition that propels a massive urge for freedom of speech and association, with many voices ready to be heard. In sampling opinions on how the state broadcaster can better serve the masses, as GRTS Abu Jan, who took several detours within the metropolis to hear the opinion of many.
Gauging opinion on what some members of the general public want to see from their state broadcaster is Tumani Jaju, a taxi driver from Dipakunda, who shared his opinion.
For us, it's about the football and sport that we follow a lot. Honestly, we do watch GRTS, but we don't watch the way we should. We watch football from the other channels because we realize that GRTS doesn't really follow the sports too much. That's why we don't have much interest in watching GRTS.
Fernandez Macaulay expressed his delight seeing his state broadcaster back on Saturday.
You can get outside and program like Ghana or Fita. No, those two we connected. Well, any educative program, more of educative, and not his musical.
In Banjul, opinions reflected on a cross-pollination of programs that targets the local audience. These, some say, will bring them closer to their national broadcaster, which till now has been struggling to meet the demands of various interest groups at no cost. Abbas Jammeh is a security staff of the Banjul City Council.
Kontaan naa si GRTS fu ñu ko gis dañ dee kontaan parce que gis nañ ne télé boo xam ne rajo boo xam ne foo ko gis da nga war a kontaan parce que dañ dee wax lu am fayda dañ dee joxe news yu am fayda te boobu rek la ñu xam depuis bu ñu nekkee ale ba léegi man boobu laa dee use.
I have different channels to watch. However, when the news is about to start, I tune into GRTS. I tell my family, let's tune into GRTS to see what's happening in the country. I have been following the state broadcaster for a long time now.
Fan yi bu ma ko dee téye dama dee gis mu leer waaw dama dee gis mu leer foofu kontaan naa trop si loolu parce que gis naa ne kii gi sam na.
Ami Tunkara, a resident of Banjul, disclosed the kind of content she wishes to see on GRTS. I would like to see Mandinka series, I mean the TV series and movies, because we don't understand Wolof or English. Student and businessman Babukar Minte said GRTS needs to put more effort in the news broadcasts on TV, and government should support to ensure a mass coverage reach out.
As a national TV, all the Gambians should come together and we put hand in glove to support GRTS, and also the programs they are doing specially for youth like sports. They have to try and cover those things, because we the youth we like sport, but for GRTS as a national TV, they have to, or they're supposed to put more effort, as there are many TVs around now, so there are most a kind of competition between GRTS and other private TVs. And also, I'm encouraging the government to support the GRTS. They should not, give a deaf ear to GRTS to say that like they can manage on their own. They're supposed to give them, a helping hand for them to improve in terms of, technical issue and machines and so on.
As the state broadcaster formally reclaims its lost glory in satellite transmission, with increasing demand by various interest groups, GRTS, with its highly experienced and educated staff, remains resolute to its mandate despite minimal resources compared to its counterparts across the sub-region. Sainabu Jang for GRTS News.
The Chefs Association of the Gambia has convened their annual general meeting, electing new executive members into various roles and responsibility for the next 2 years. As Isato Keta reports, chefs from different tourism and hospitality disciplines also made their way to the biannual conclave, reflecting on progress made and challenges registered. More in this report.
It is a gathering of those focused in gastronomy, an area under tourism and hospitality. Chefs, an important one under the tourism development, whose effort is one reason why tourists visit the country. They have gathered to elect new leaders to be at the helm of affairs of the association, whilst reading out to members some of the activities being embarked upon by the executive over the last 2 years. With series of development registered, the association had faced challenges such as support and motivation from government, which has to some extent dampened the spirit of young chefs who intend to build a career in gastronomy.
We believe a national team should be supported by the nation. Our agenda will push it to the line ministry, but none of this has ever been fruitful, especially when it comes to our travels. It's very expensive. Other countries will always be like supported fully by their line ministers, but the Gambia, we never have that. And then when we are going, sometimes we have to loan tickets, and if we loan tickets as well, I being the president, I'm the one that always funds when it comes to the feeding when we are out there or accommodations.
Despite facing some challenges, which includes COVID-19 and a lot more, Chef Sehu Bojang has been re-elected to serve as president, which members believe would be a continuation of what he had already started after the association had been dormant for a while.
He always teaches them, whenever you have a practical or you have a program in your school, just send him a letter. He is always available to help people. So I think this position, for our school in general, we don't know him before, but the time our admin start to send him the letters, he started to come every time. So everyone is used to him. He is always there to help us. So that's why I appreciate him to be the president of Young Chef Association of the Gambia.
Bojang has reassured his stance in bettering the body, whilst urging members to come forward and help pursue the agenda, as plans are already on the pipeline to turn it into a federation.
Having to engage all the institutions who are doing catering, having to do a tour of the nation to make sure to reach out to every single region of the country that has something to do with food. We reach out to them and bring them all together under one umbrella. And also having to fight again to make sure the Gambia Chef Association gets an office at least, because we don't even have an office space, and a training ground wherein we'll be recruiting our own chefs. We will also be training our own chefs to take charge of our country's cooking or hospitality industry and minimize the importation of expertise.
A one-off gathering of chefs whose slogan remained "to us, for us, by us." For GRTS News, I am Baba Silla.
Well, that was Baba Silla there instead of Aissatou Keita. Now moving forward, 50 children from grade 6 and nursery 3 have graduated from Fabalum International School in Sinchu Alaji. The event held at Insight Training Center Hall in Sinchu Alaji attracted parents and community members who saw the rise of a school that started in 2009 with one student in a bedroom to now over 180 pupils in 6 classrooms. Ibrahim Jallo picks up the rest of the story.
Fabalum International School released a total of 50 students, 30 from nursery 3 and 20 from primary 6, marking the first graduation ceremony since inception in 2009. Mbasin Loom, commonly known as Linger, is the founder of the school. She described the struggle in the ensuing years as challenging, but with hard work driven by passion, the school grew from a single nursery classroom to a primary school.
What started in 2009 with one student is today over 241 pupils. What started in my mom's sitting room have today become 9 classrooms from nursery 1 to grade 6. What started to be mere voluntary or to be managed voluntary by a mere high school graduate is today with 9 qualified teachers with the minimum qualification of teacher's certificate. Considering where I started and now where we are, the journey has been challenging. I must admit the tremendous encouragement of my family, friends, and well-wishers, and the community who over the years trusted me with their children.
The headmaster Ali Hussein said the graduates went through quality education offered by the school, which according to him will be manifested in their next level of educational pursuit.
Whichever schools these children are going to will reflect a replica of the academic excellence of the school in the midst of their peers, and by extension, the commitment and dedication of my staff. I therefore, in no small measure, say bravo to my staff and pupils.
An advice for parents to send their children to school and provide them with necessary support was stopped in the speech delivered by the guest.
They will surely succeed in their education career. They have a shared responsibility in school to provide an enabling environment that is conducive for learning, which motivates the children to achieve their full potential.
The graduates, including the outgoing head girl and head boy, Maria Mondong and Mohamed Kuyate respectively, delivered speeches, poems and spelling skills in front of their parents, manifesting the achievements at Fabalum International School. The ceremony was punctuated with traditional songs and dance amid fanfare. Ibrahima Diallo, GRTS News.
What an incredible story there. Now, the Dubai-based Masir Foundation, in collaboration with a UK-based charity organization, Sharing Wonders, has donated learning materials, food items and clothes to the St. John School for the Deaf. As Winifred Nicole reports, the presentation ceremony held at the school premises in Canife was graced by board members, members of staff, students, as well as a representative from the Regional Education Directorate.
A new library, staff room, playing ground, as well as vital food items and clothes is the latest gesture made by UK-based charity Sharing Wonders to the St. John's School for the Deaf. The charitable organization has been helping the Gambia for the past 21 years in the areas of education and clean water. This presentation, made alongside Dubai-based organization Masir Foundation, comes at a critical period for the school, which is one of the most important institutions delivering education to the hard of hearing in the Gambia.
It started in Banjul. It was through the efforts of a missionary priest in the passing of Pat Nolan from Ireland. He took to the plight of wanting to help one deaf child communicate. And when he started, he sought the permission from the then Bishop, Michael Maloney, that I wanted to help this deaf child. And that's how it all started in 1980 at the mission house in Banjul. And then later, this premises was sought from government and it was allocated for the school to develop. The Catholic Mission is actually the proprietor of the school, and it's a grant-aided school.
I've been working with Mrs. Budur Rakbani. She's the founder of the before Kalimati Rehabilitation Center for the Deaf, and she's now the founder of Masir. It's a new foundation that she's behind the work now for everything that you can see. Most of the things donated to the St. John School of the Deaf in Gambia is donated by Budur Rakbani under the Masir Foundation, and I'm so blessed and honored to be working with her. And this is inspired by Noura Al-Kaabi, the daughter of Budur. Budur is the founder of Masir, and she's the founder also of Kalimati, where I did work for 11 years with Noura as a sign language interpreter. I do sign language interpreting for Noura in American Sign Language, and that's how I know the deaf community, and I've been friend with the deaf community for those past 11 years.
With 40 years of active service in deaf education, Daniel Mendy, principal of St. John's School for the Deaf, appreciated the support from the two international organizations who are keen on developing the sign language concept in the Gambia. The school head was quick to highlight the need for more concerted efforts to help the special school educating the hard of hearing.
There are regional variations here and there, and the first thing they want to do is to develop a rich library as a resource center where we can make our references and develop our sign language training modules. Though the assigning pattern is slightly different, but just very minute, the American Sign Language alphabets is very much similar to the Gambian one, because we actually adopted the Dutch sign, which has some similarities with the American Sign Language.
Gifts were distributed to all students present, and 24 children received bicycles for their outstanding performance in academics. With a slight difference in mediums of expression, these differently abled children at the St. John's School for the Deaf use the same national school curriculum taught in mainstream schools, and living by the saying, disability does not mean inability. The school has graduated scores of students with outstanding results in both the grade 9 and 12 exams over the years. Reporting for GRTS News, I am Winifred Nicole.
The Chosan Charitable Medical Foundation over the weekend held another medical caravan in Caravan. The medical outreach brought together scores of patients from many parts of the North Bank region to have access to free medical treatment and services. The activity is the 24th medical outreach of its kind embarked on by the Charitable Foundation since its inception. Famara Kanye witnessed the event, and this is his report.
In the queue with anxiety, every patient wanting to have access to free treatment. They numbered some hundreds coming from every part of the North Bank. It was a rush and scramble for tickets. Both the young and the elderly filled the blanks in their numbers. Complications here differ like day and night. Every patient in the queue is in some way suffering from a particular ailment, probably for months. Some body accents and sign languages displayed by patients in demonstrating their ailments can thrill any urban doctor. A phenomenon of rural healthcare delivery. The entire process of diagnosing some of them is hectic, but these doctors are determined on humanitarian grounds to go with them all through the end. The activity is led by the Chosan Charitable Medical Foundation, a non-profit whose ultimate aim is to bring healthcare service to the doorsteps of rural dwellers and hard-to-reach communities in the Gambia.
Whenever we knock on their doors, they are willing to give us something. Though we have challenges financially, because we used to do it independently, but because the funding is no more coming forward as usual, so now we turn the other way to partner with communities or individual and philanthropists to have this camp, because we believe we should not let this die. This is a very good initiative.
They are partners in development, complementing the efforts of government. The foundation is entirely youthful. Members will put up their resources mostly in health financing. This is their 24th camp since inception, and every other camp is getting bigger both in scope and intervention.
Wherever you live in, it's a requirement for you to have access to quality healthcare. No matter your region, no matter your means or access to quality healthcare. It is a requirement. And this is why Chosan feels necessary to complement government's effort to reach out to the peoples in diverse areas, in the remote rest areas of the country, in hard-to-reach areas, disadvantaged areas, to help them provide free medical services to them.
This old man is a beneficiary who has been battling with his ailment for months. At times, lack of access to quality health care will worsen their symptoms. I have already seen the doctor. He had diagnosed me and also gave me some drugs for free. Another patient who was in the long queues has finally got her drugs. She told GRTS that such platforms are supportive to the poor and underprivileged in society. In the ring with Chosan is the Caravan Youth Development Association, their host. Kausufati, president of the association, made this remark at the opening of the day-long camp.
The perception we have is the turnout will be good, and indeed it is good.
And so many people will have medicine. This is going to help our people. This is a plus. We can say they are very happy. We can say they will get what they need. So indeed, we are very happy. We don't have enough word even to describe how happy we are.
According to the Chosen Foundation, 20% of their drugs in every order camp for the past 6 camps are all donations from the central medical stores. For the news, I am Famara Kanyi.
Well, from that report by our regional correspondent in the North Bank region, Famara Kanyi there, we'll take our first break. When we return, we'll take a look at sports. Just stay with us. Welcome back to GRTS News at 2200 hours with me, Fatu Janimbai, and in sports. The Gambia sprint sensation, Gina Bass, has missed out in the final of a women's 200-meter race after finishing 4th in Monday's semi-final. This marks the end of the Gambia's participation in the 2021 Tokyo Olympic Games. And as Modu S. Jallo reports, despite missing out a medal, Team Gambia still can be proud of their achievements on the world's biggest sporting event, with Gina having 2 semi-final appearances on her belt.
Fraser Price in.
The Gambia's participation in the Tokyo Olympic Games has come to an end after the country's top sprinter Gina Bass missed out on a place in the women's 200 meters final. Gina produced a terrific run to finish second in heat 7 with a timing of 22.74 seconds to book her place in the semi-finals. Being her favorite event, cruising into the 200-meter semis wasn't a surprise for many, but the Gambian found the going tougher when she lined up against some of the best, including Jamaica's Ellen Thompson-Herah, who is just fresh from winning Olympic gold in the women's 100 meters, and she wheeled away from the rest to finish first, with Gina settling for the 4th position with a timing of 22.67 seconds, which wasn't enough to earn her a spot in the final. It marked an end to a remarkable performance from Team Gambia in the Tokyo 2020 Olympic Games. Despite missing out on a podium finish, Gina's double semi-final appearance in both the 100 and 200 meters, together with the performances of sprinter Ibrahima Kamara, swimmer Ibrahima Sori Boaro, and judoka Fai Alex Njai, are something to be proud of for Team Gambia. Momodes Jallo, GRTS Sports.
Well, congratulations to Team Gambia as well. Now still in sports, Fortune Football Club, who were earlier confirmed champions of the First Division League of the Gambia Football Federation on Sunday, received their title and medals after playing their final league game with Wabanjul. Well, our farmer Abaji was at the stadium to witness that many fans call a thrilling league encounter that ended in a stalemate goalless draw.
The atmosphere at the Independence Stadium was electric. A large crowd of mainly Fortune supporters led the Independence Stadium with a colorful atmosphere and great fanfare accompanied by fireworks display. There was little to play for in this game, as Fortune had already scooped Gambian football's most prestigious title, and we are just waiting to lift the league trophy and the cash prize that comes with winning the country's premier football competition. That might be the reason why the Petroleum boys didn't give it all their best in this final leg game against Wabanjul. Fortune came under a series of threats throughout the evening. First, Wabanjul's Ibo Kamara nearly scored from a dead ball situation, but his shot was magically tipped over by Yankuba Sabali in the Fortune goal post. Teammate Umar Sonko then fired into the side netting, an attempt many thought was in. Fortune in this game were more focused on the possession, knocking the ball around the pitch with passion. It took them 55 minutes to create their first threat when Ibrahima Kamara had the ball in the net, which was ruled out as he was judged to have handled the ball in the build-up to the goal. Wabanjul responded with what really should have been a goal, as substitute Bakari Jata came face-to-face with the Fortune goalkeeper and missed a very good chance. The tie ended goalless and the coronation ceremony of fortune as the champions of Gambian football started. Royal de Banjul, who finished third, were awarded $150,000. Second place, Elite United received $300,000 and Fortune got $750,000 as champions. A joyous moment for Fortune, capping off a remarkable achievement for the Farato-based team, who will now set their sight on the CAF Champions League qualifiers.
The second Vice President, Mr. Ibufai.
We know that we are a young team, but we have registered for the competition as well, which is another exposure for our team. But along the way, what we want to do is to go and find some players to send in our team, so that, as you said, we can reach a level where no Gambian team has ever reached. So we already have our plans in place, so we're going to continue work only 24 hours after today. So that shows that we are ready and committed to prepare for the competition.
It's the happiest day of my life, I can say, because you can see Gambian League is never easy. You know, to win a league anywhere is not easy. You have so many encounters on the way, you have so many obstacles, you have so many hurdles to skip. So definitely, it's an amazing season for me. Yeah, I'm very happy right now. I'm very, very happy right now.
At the end, wild celebration followed as jubilant supporters stormed the pitch to celebrate their well-earned victory and a first league title success. Fortune can look back at their great accomplishments with pride. From playing non-league football in 2017 to becoming Gambian League champions with CAF Champions League football awaiting is truly remarkable. Famara Baji, GRTS News.
Well, from sports, we now head straight to news beyond our shores, where the United States and UK have joined Israel in accusing Iran of being responsible for the deadly attack on a tanker off the coast of Oman. A British security guard and a Romanian crew member were killed in what appeared to be a drone strike. Tehran has called the accusation baseless. The tensions between Iran and Israel escalates in recent times due to influence posed by Israel for the UK and US to honor the 2015 Iran nuclear deal. Details of that in this report.
This tanker is at the centre of the latest escalation in tensions between Israel and Iran. A British security guard and a Romanian crew member were killed when the vessel was attacked off the coast of Oman on Thursday. The Israeli Prime Minister says he has evidence that Tehran orchestrated the attack on the ship, operated by a group owned by an Israeli businessman.
אז אני קובע באופן מוחלט, איראן היא שביצעה את התקיפה כנגד הספינה. הראיות המודיעיניות לכך קיימות, ואנחנו מצפים שהמערכת הבינלאומית תבהיר למשטר האיראני שהם עשו טעות קשה.
The United States and the UK have also said they're confident that Iran was to blame, but Tehran denies any involvement.
رژیم اشغالگر قدس بار اولش نیست که از این اتهامات متوجه جمهوری اسلامی ایران کرده.
Well, from that report, we'll take a look at our top stories once again before we end this bulletin of the 2200 hours news here on GRTS. President Barrow received a delegation of over 300 imams and village heads across the metropolis at the State House in Banjul, expressing their support and commitment to peace, to preach peace. The second tranche of vaccines, numbering over 150,000 of the single-dose Johnson & Johnson, yesterday evening arrived in the Gambia at the Banjul International Airport. Regaining its lost glory in satellite transmission, GRTS has been sampling public opinion on how Gambians want their public broadcaster to serve them bridge the information gap. And in sports, the Gambia's track queen Gina Bass has missed out in the final of the women's 200-meter race after finishing fourth in today's semi-final in the 2021 Tokyo Olympics. And in the internationals, clashes intensified in Afghanistan with government forces fighting fierce street battle, with Taliban forces trying to overtake their last stand of defense. Well, that's it from me, Fatu Janibai, from the entire news team. Many thanks for joining us and good night.
Niaji be mol jamalef ko do mo baka sumuna la o buro bayri mburu janalalu fanan ni man ko